Well, hello, everybody. Welcome. My name is Brianna McWilliam, and I am an author, educator, Reiki practitioner, and also happen to be an online entrepreneur, and managed to scale my practice online. And that led to developing a program called The Abundant Healer, 90 Days to Scale Your Practice Online, which is a program through which I help therapists, coaches, and healers scale their practices online so they can start calling in the clients' cash flow and clout that they want without having to spend a bunch of money on specialists and gurus and a bunch of different programs that they've piecemealed together. So it's intended to be a one-stop shop to help people really bring in the abundances they seek from a soulful place. And I am super excited to welcome here Kristen Von Foxx, who is an alumni of the program and also happens to be a really good friend and colleague. And I'm really excited to welcome you here, Kristen, today and to really talk about some of the really great projects and things that are going on in Kristen's life right now. And also she's going to share a little bit of her experience of the program with us too. So Kristen, welcome. And probably what I would start with is just having you tell us a little bit about where you are right now. What are your hot projects right now? What lights you on fire in this moment?
Hey, Brianna. Thanks so much for having me. I love talking about what lights me up, so I'm excited to be here today. And I did go through Brianna's program about a year ago, and I don't think I was ready to step into the projects that I now have created that I'm really on fire about. But I've created an 8-week signature program for helping my clients to truly transform their lives using psychotherapy techniques, creative arts therapies, and especially using shamanic healing techniques, indigenous cultures that have been using ancient healing modalities for hundreds of thousands of years, like soul retrieval, releasing negative energies, specific manifestation techniques that I've all put into this program, including my book, Be Holy You, How to Bounce Back from Any Challenging Life Experience with Soul Retrieval, because soul retrieval is the work that I've been specializing in. I found a way to teach it to people so that they can use it on themselves, so that they can reclaim their power from any kind of traumas or anywhere that they feel like their energy is stuck. Maybe it's an old relationship or a bad experience that they had a number of years ago. They just want to get over, get their power back, and move forward and create new and healthy patterns in their life. So I'm excited to be creating this 8-week healing program that is launching in like 2.5 weeks in January. So I've been working a lot on showing up online, using some of the techniques that I learned in the Abundant Healer program, and just really bringing my skills to the world.
That's awesome. Do you happen to have a copy of your book right there? Give us a little visual of the cover.
Yeah, I do. And I've been, I wrote this book it's been about 5 years working on it. And I worked on this book for quite some time and was trying to find ways to incorporate it into the work that I'm doing. And now I'm using this as one of my lead magnets to getting people interested in getting on the webinar or getting more connected to what I'm doing by offering them this book free, just pay for shipping. So that's been one of the things that I've been researching other entrepreneurs doing similar things and finding that I really just do want to give this book to the world. I want to give these skills to people and then inviting them to go deeper in my 8-week program for people who want to use these skills, but go much deeper than what I can relay through words in the book.
Absolutely. So one question I might have for you. So now I have worked with Kristen personally. Kristen has helped me through soul journeying and soul retrieval, bring back parts of myself, which really allowed me to expand further into my practice and into my dreams and the things that I wanted to do, and really help me kind of fill up my own circumference, if you will. And so I am curious for you in your process and in your journey, what, let's say, motivated you or inspired you to transition from working in like the one-to-one model to expanding into the online space and working with like one-to-many?
Yeah, and that's a great question. And I think that the main reason is that I wasn't feeling as excited and joyful anymore in my practice working one-on-one. I started working more in groups, facilitating larger workshops, which really is the piece that lights me up. I follow something called Destiny Cards, and in the Destiny Cards deck, I am the teacher card, which is actually, because Brianna and I are friends, we're actually the same, different birthdays, but the same archetype in that system. And so we are the teacher cards. And so I find that I feel like I'm really stepping into and living my life purpose when I'm teaching people how to empower themselves, because it's not like there's one guru out there that knows it all. That's just taking other people's power. And I think that it's something that Brianna also teaches, is that we all are capable of doing this work on our own and shining our light, being uniquely who we are and putting that out into the world. So that's part of my gift to the world, is to show up, share with them the tools that I've used to really get my power back, transform my energy. I went from being a mute kid, very abused, having a lot of really challenging and traumatic situations that happened throughout my life, and was able to find certain techniques to really reclaim my power, specifically a practice called soul retrieval, where I was able to get my power back, my soul parts, and really feel revitalized, lit up. And now I feel like I'm drawing from this endless abyss of energy that is constantly flowing through me when I tap into my purpose. And now I feel like with Brianna's help, I now have the tools to really deliver this out in a very professional way out into the world so that people can really receive what I have to offer. Because so many things are changing in the technological scene, online, on Facebook. It's really hard to keep up. And there's certain algorithms and certain systems that do work to get your truth out there and, and to be received by people. You always have to speak from the heart. That's an important piece. But there's certain pieces that I didn't know how to use or what they even were until Brianna invited me to join into her program. And I've been working with those pieces and developing my own signature program to bring out to the world that really reflects the things that I'm lit up about, that have changed my life, and that I'm ready to share.
Sure. One of the things we talk a lot about in the program is also how to hone in on what I call soul clients. But this is the idea that once we are able to sort of become more discerning in the kind of clients we want to work with, as opposed to I'm going to work with everybody and anybody because I'm scared I'm not going to make enough money, or I'm not going to make ends meet, or things like that. It's like once you're able to tap into your soul clients, and I believe that means that you're reaching people that when you connect with them, there's like a resonance, like a mutual resonance. And that is in facilitation of the larger expansion, really, of all of our spirit, of our, purpose for being here, of the essence of whatever it is. So one of the things that I might ask you now, and I know that you're very tapped into that, and one of the questions I might ask you, which I think would be good for other people also to hear as they start, going on that path to being like, okay, I'm going to be more discerning in who I want to work with, because that's actually going to help you reach the people you were meant to reach, right? Mm-hmm. What's your client avatar? What someone who would want to work with you, how would you describe their struggles and where they are in their journey or in their phases of their journey and experience?
So the people that I want to work with are the people who are just at the end of the rope, and they just say, pardon my language, can I curse here? Like, fuck this shit. I don't want to go through these cycles anymore. They're so fed up. They're really ready for the transformation, but they don't necessarily know what to do to transform. They're just ready. And that means that they're ready to invest, not just invest their money, but invest their time, really show up. Because I mean, this has been, I think, the journey of the last year, because I've had so many clients who are just like, help me, do it for me. I want this kind of work. And I find that the best work is when the person shows up, they're thirsty for it, and they're ready to take action. So even if I am doing some shamanic work behind the scenes to help them get some of their power back, help them get over that hump, they're going to take even the feedback that I give them, the tips and the tools and the next steps, and they're going to take action. And now as I'm teaching these modalities to my clients and teaching them to my community, that these people are really invested in practicing. They're taking these pieces, they're putting them into action, because no one can save anyone else. I have to work with the clients, and I only want to work with the clients who are really ready to step into their sovereignty, their power, and their light and their passion by taking action to change their stories. Mm-hmm. Because you can like drag a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. And I have to say that I did get on a call with someone who saw me through Facebook the other day, and they were really excited about what I'm offering. They were excited about my vibration and what what I'm getting excited about, what I'm talking about online. I got on a call with them, and it was miserable. Oh. And at the end, we both just realized, and this person just wanted to fight me with logic. He just wanted to basically break me down and find exactly what the scientific research is about everything that I've done. And I actually shared some science behind what I do, and just wanted to fight. He just wanted to fight. And at the end of the day, we were both like, this doesn't feel good at all. And we were both able to say, this is empowering for us to make the choice to say no. Mm. And sometimes you have to have those experiences where you either feel bad and then you say, I have to let this person go, or that you find that mutual space. Because it's really about working with the people who are ready to work with you. But if you have that vibration of just wanting to help everyone, wanting to do it for them, wanting to mother them, then people are really going to be leeching off of your power and bringing you down because they want you to do everything for them. They want you, there's something to holding your hand and teaching the steps, and something to like really blaming you if they don't get the results that they want because they're actually not taking action. Right. And so I saw that this person was not ready for my program, and I offered them, some other steps that we could take before then. And they just said, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to help myself that way. Mm-hmm. And so I said, okay, I don't think either of us are going to be happy working together. And he agreed. And it was actually a really positive conversation. He wrote me several really positive, nice emails after that helped him say mm-hmm. no to something. It also helped me to say no to something. So I think it's important to look at what we do want by sometimes reevaluating what we don't want. And sometimes we have to go sit in that space of feeling awful and being like, no, this is not it. This is not the vibration, because it got me even more clear about the type of people I want to work with. And sometimes we need those lessons.
Yeah, absolutely. And, it was interesting when you were talking about that. I was thinking about how, like, having the conversation and being like, well, you're not a fit for this, but this might be something that would bring you to the place where you might be a fit for this. So that's like another thing to consider when you're thinking about potentially scaling online or doing these wonderful projects, is that there's also, they call it a product ladder, right? Or that there's a variety of things that you can offer, and you can make your message available for where people are at, like on their journey. So like one of the things we talk about is like 4 phases of the client journey, and like being really mindful of what phase of transformation is my client at, and what are they ready for, right? And what are they needing, and what is actually going to facilitate their growth from one to the next. So like maybe they're not ready to work with you on that level, but I know you happen to have quite a library of like self-directed course content and things that like energy protection and other courses like that. So it's interesting when you step into this space that there's actually ways that you can still reach people where they're at, but while at the same time being able to say no when it doesn't feel like it's a good fit for that piece, where it's like your time, your energy, and your effort. It's also in some ways learning how to place a premium value on that, right? And then still being able to give something of value to people who may not be ready to step into that place with you.
Yeah, and I really like working with the people who have been working with my offerings and say I've been doing your How to Protect Your Energy course. I really love it. I have another webinar that I put into every webinar, and this is the first thing that I pitched when I did Truly Transformation. When I did the Abundant Healer program with Brianna last year. And what I found was that was such a high. I felt really good on it. And then I didn't have my next steps at that point. And then I felt a big crash, and then I kind of felt lost. I didn't know what I was doing. And it took the time and a number of life experiences that had to happen in my life that I needed to be present and go through until I came around to that place of, yes, now I know what I want to offer. This is the next step. So it's okay to not have all of it all at once. Mm-hmm. And that's now something that when there's another person that I found who it was not a good fit. And I was still able to say, well, here's this. And she loves it. She still emails me and says, like, I've gotten so much from this course. I'm really great that I can still work with you in this capacity. Mm-hmm. And it was a really great thing to downsell her to. And that's something that I'm thinking about when I'm doing my Truly Transformation program now. What are the offerings that I can still give them if they can't afford the package, or if they're not quite ready, or how can I have them sample the package so that they can potentially get some steps, see if it's a value to them. And if it is, then I can, easily escort them into the next level and the next phase of our work together. Mm-hmm. And as I'm realizing, in the 4 stages of where I'm meeting my clients, there's the stuck and suffering phase. And then a little bit higher than that is the awareness phase, but not knowing what to do. And then realizing I don't really want to be with the people who are stuck in that suffering, because sometimes that creates that vibration of like just giving up. Mm-hmm. And people have to bring this awareness into, why am I giving up, or what is this that's holding me back? And once they get to that place of being aware and being ready to take action and really putting their energy behind saying that and really wanting to show up, and that's when I know it's time to take them to the next phase, where I have the tools to teach them how to get unstuck, to teach them how to get their power back. Really easy, fun ways that they can incorporate into all of their practices that really enrich their life, bring back their power, and help reset their entire mindset, spirit, energy, in their bodies so that they can be ready to step into their passions and what they want to offer to the world.
Absolutely. And one thing I know you mentioned that it's been a journey since, being in the program, and then now you're launching Truly Transformational, and that there are, of course, these processes that we all go through. And that's something that for those that are in the program now, sometimes there's some, I call it comparisonitis, but sometimes people tend to compare where they're at in their process to where somebody else might be in their process. And so one of the things we also look at is that everybody has their own journey, and everything is sort of consumed in its own time. And that also being able to sit with wherever you may be in your process, and knowing that if you can allow yourself to sit with it, that it will transform on its own. It will kind of blossom in its own way. And also another thing we talk about in the program is sort of being open to, I am a law of attraction person and universal law person, and just being open and receptive to the idea that if you can tap into yourself, then the inspired action steps will come, so long as we can allow for the idea that sometimes things come in the way that you didn't necessarily think they should, right? Or in the way that you didn't necessarily originally envision that to be the case. And so it's for me, it's a really fun process to see how each person who joins finds that for themselves, right? So, because I feel like the things that I offer are sort of these tools that are almost like, it's almost like giving you a compass and a magnifying glass to be able to read your own map, right? And your own map is ultimately the direction you will take. But these are really intended to be tools that you didn't have before, that allow you to see it with a certain level of clarity and the ability to take action on it. I think you'd also mentioned that you had also sought some counsel from another coach as well, and felt like coming back to the Abundant Healer tools at some point. Is that right?
Yeah. So, I had worked with Brianna, and our time had closed together, and I was still trying to figure out where I was. And I kept feeling this call of I need to work with someone else. I needed to call someone in, and then a coach came. Actually, she's in Australia, and I don't work one-on-one with her, but she has this digital program, and it just, as soon as she came into my sphere, it was this big yes. And it actually got me to a place to look at all the content that I had created when I was in Brianna's program, The Abundant Healer. And then I reevaluated, I revamped it. I took a few pieces of the puzzle that she offered me, but then I got to this place of being ready to put it out there and to pitch it. And I realized, this other coach doesn't give me any of the tools about how to do it. She does in some way. I was able to do some write-ups, some PDFs, and create some pieces that I hadn't before, a little bit of a different approach. But at the end of the day, I was like, well, I want to run a Facebook ad. I want to do this and that. And then I had no tools from her. So I actually found myself going back to the Abundant Healer, using all of those steps, going back to create from this place, and just felt really relieved that now I could be inspired by someone else, but that I could still come back to what Brianna created that was actually of greater value in some sense. I mean, I value both of the coaches, but I realized that I needed that spark and that inspiration from someone new, and then to come back to what I already knew. And it was just remembering what I had written down, remembering all my notes, going back and revisiting them, and then tapping into my guides, tapping into my own inner knowing, and then really going through this flow state of creating a program that felt like it honored me more now, and where I'm at, and what I wanted to offer then, and what I want to offer now. And so it was this beautiful molding together. And then Brianna gave me the tools, and I was able to access them, and then felt really nurtured, where I felt like my coach kind of just says go online, speak your truth, but she doesn't really say how or where, or give you the internal setup. And I think that that's something she's probably discovering as she's doing her own work, and maybe she'll create that component there. But I felt really held and loved in the sense that I could come back and the structures were there. Everything was still repeatable. And it brought me to this place of feeling like I had forgotten how much I know how to master these tools because I have them. Mm-hmm. And then that brought me to this place of being like, oh yeah, because I love webinars, and that's what I wanted to create. And I put together a webinar. She talks about, in the future, you'll do webinars, in the future, you'll make ads, but she's like, you can hire someone to do it, but people can be really expensive. And if you're not clear on your vision, they don't know what to do, and they don't create something that reflects your vision. So it is really important to come up with all the copy, to really create that for yourself, or you're not going to have a message that reflects your values and ultimately reflects your vibration. And then no one's going to be interested in it if it's not really screaming who you are, because people want to work with you. And so I found a way to come back to the tools, get more inspired, fine-tuned, using all of the tools I had, and then go back to really writing my copy, writing that, presenting it in the way through the tools that Brianna has laid out in her Abundant Healer course. So I felt really supported in such a big way that I had lifetime access to it, that I didn't have to go back into, go back to ground zero and start all over again, because I could just go back and like hop into the module where I needed to download the webinar scripts and download the webinar templates and really step into that. And I've been kind of like snooping around and looking at other people and what they're doing and being on every webinar about doing webinars. And I realized that like all the things I needed, I already had. They had like one or two things, but at the end of the day, it was like, I'm so glad I have this, because people are selling like $1,000 courses, which are just the webinar slides. And I mean, they have like a deal, right? It's like, if you buy right now, but I looked and I was like, this is exactly what I already have. And I feel like I really invested in the right tools, because I'm seeing what other people are offering. They're just offering like one step or like this or that. And I needed everything. And now I feel like I have that.
Yeah, that was really, thank you for sharing that. Because in my own journey, I created it that way because of what I went through in a similar process, where I invested in business coaching and it gave me a sense of the strategy, but it was sort of like, okay, now I have the strategy, but what about filling in all the missing parts, or like all the moving parts, right? And so I just invested in a bunch of different programs. I actually invested in a program that would certify me, or not certify me, but that would give me the full training to become a Facebook ads person, like a Facebook ads consultant. And I was like, oh, I need that piece. And then I also invested in another program so that I could learn more about automation and passive income funnels. And then I invested in another program that talked more specifically about copywriting. And then I invested in another program that was looking specifically at like bots, like ManyChat bots and lead magnet creation, generation, and all that. And I was like, basically creating the Abundant Healer program was a way of like pulling all those different parts together so that it would be this bridge so that you could access all those things. And if you wanted to, you can delegate, and I can teach you how to delegate if you want to. But I like what you said, I think it's really important that if you are stepping into this idea of being your own boss, and the people use the term online entrepreneur, but even if it's just stepping into your own practice and you're wanting to build a platform online, I think it's really important that you at least know what each moving part is, how it works, how it affects the whole. And then if you are going to delegate to someone, know that there's a strategy that you are in charge of, right? Because I remember once I hired someone to help me with Facebook ads. It was before I hired the person that I have now. And I was very wishy-washy on what my strategy was. And I was like, well, what do you think? Well, what do you think? And they might say something that was different to what I had learned or had experimented with. And I was like, well, I'm not a Facebook ads person, so they probably know better than I do. And it wasn't successful. And I felt like that was a really important lesson for me, which was like, no, like, I'm going to meditate into this, and I'm going to remain open to the wisdom of my soul. And I think this is going to work for me in my niche, and we're going to try it this way, and we're going to use my strategy. And every single time I would sit down to make a choice like that, I'd have a jump in my sales and in my revenue. And even if it appeared contrary to what, the standard advice would have been. So I think that really influenced me in creating some of the structure for this program, which was to give people enough knowledge of strategy and then being able to take it into themselves and be like, okay, so what of this is going to work for me and my niche and my voice and my brand mission and my message, right? And then how I'm going to bring it, how I'm going to show up to my audience in that way. But I do feel like one of the things I also ask people in the program to do is to look at who their heroes are, right? Like who inspire them, producing, how are they showing up online, right? And then thinking about how allowing all of that to inspire you into, like, what's the expression, steal like an artist? like letting yourself take all of that in and then ideally, I feel like I will have been successful if, like what you said, Kristen, I've provided some structures that allow you to come back to, so that that all comes and gels in such a way that you can then, produce what it is that is your heart's message, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm actually kind of wondering a little bit more about Truly Transformational. What makes this program different? And I know you actually have a wonderful also lineup of people participating as well in this program. Is that right?
Yeah, so I put together my dream team of healers, the astrologer that I always go to, my friend who does my numerology readings and channelings every year. I always invest in that around my birthday to see what the next phase is going to look like. And also another trauma specialist that is really amazing and intuitively going in and pinpointing where you have stuck energy, especially in your body. She's so dead on. And I've known many of these practitioners for years. And I decided to not work alone, but to create more value in what I'm offering. So it's an 8-week course, which we focus on every week, a different modality for stepping more fully into your power. And I'm being loose there with the word modality. So we go through learning how to connect to your power, connect to your own inner voice, how to ground in and connect with your guides. That's the first step, because it's not about what I tell you to do. It's about giving you some loose instructions and allowing you to step into using the specific techniques to find your power, to find your team of guides so that they can escort you through and you can feel really clear and really driven and crystal clear about what your next steps are. And then we go into nutrition and honoring the temple of our bodies, preparing ourselves for getting our soul parts back, getting our power back from where we may have given it away or had it dissociate because of trauma. And so we do a lot of holistic healing, looking at your body type, what is the best way to eat for your body type, looking at all the work that I've done as a holistic nutritionist. I don't usually practice that anymore. And I have a lot of people that ask me a lot about thyroidism. We talk about candida. We talk about leaky gut. We talk about a lot of the things that are affecting many of the healers that I've worked with, that are all about stepping into our power, releasing the blocks in our voice through nutrition, looking at what actually might be going on that's pulling your energy so that you can step into healing. And then we look even more deeply at connecting with the ancestors. We focus a whole week on soul retrieval, how you can go and use these indigenous techniques to get your power back, how you can clear negative energies from you, and how we can step into manifesting what it is that you really desire in your life using actually a course I did as a mini course that I have created more content around, that I wanted to really have my clients step more fully into once they clear out the old, really letting go of all of those old stories, all of the baggage, stepping into their power, and then getting really clear about how they want to manifest their future and stepping into those practices that bring it to you and attract it to you like a magnet. And so it's this amazing program that I have guest speakers and guest healers coming in who are from the dream team. And that's the lower level of the course. And if people feel like they need extra support, they don't just want to do it on their own, they can go to the upper tier where they also get one-on-one healing sessions with me. They also get one-on-one healing sessions with all of my dream team people that are going to be supporting. So they get the astrology, the numerology, they get the extra trauma support. So it's all about feeling really held in the container. There's a private Facebook group so that there's community, and the calls are live and interactive so that my clients can come and really have that transformation along with me. And I feel how much this program is transforming me. It's like I have to step through and I have to walk the walk as I talk the talk. And so I feel like it's completely shifted my life and my business, and I'm feeling all of the mega shifts as I'm moving through, and so much cleansing is happening. And it feels really, really good because I know that this is my soul's purpose and this is what my message is to the world. And I've been seeing visions of myself doing work like this for many, many years and just never knew how it was all going to come together. And ever since I started working with Brianna, and she said, I think you have a lot of great things of value. Why don't you bring it online? It's been a complete shift in the people that I'm working with, the people I'm attracting. And so many clients are finding me and they're just like, yes, this is it. So when I make the sales calls for the people who are supposed to work with me, it's like they already know. It's so easy. Already a yes. And I don't even have to go into my whole spiel because they're just like, I get a yes. I know. I trust you. Let's go with it. So, and I do want to say something too. I had a whole strategy in my mind about how I was going to use my recent How to Reclaim Your Energy with Soul Retrieval webinar, and everything shifted for me. My guides started giving me alternate information that would move that piece that I worked on into a different part of my channel. and just being receptive to what comes through in my guidance from the universe, which has ultimately led me here today. Through all of the steps I've taken in my life, it's guided me in a really good way to where I am and where I'm really excited about. And I just have to surrender to, okay, as Brianna said, you don't want to give your power away to someone who's working for you to say, oh, well, you might know better. You have to come from that knowing of being guided and feeling like this is the thing. Mm-hmm. And when I come from that place, that's when I know I'm honoring my truth, and the people that show up and are attracted to that are the people who are meant to work with me because they're resonating with my frequency. You can't fake a frequency. You can't become someone else and just do it how someone else is doing it. You have to follow your own inner truth. And so my program helps you to fine tune that, to step into your inner truth, because sometimes we have these old, like crappy stories that are, or like old voices in our head that are telling us something that is not consistent with who we really are at a soul level. And so I help to clear all the bullshit out of the way so that my clients can really step into who they are and what they want to offer into the world. I know a lot of my clients are really wanting to find out like what their purpose is. And you know that this program really helped to fine tune that by clearing out all the things that aren't and all the things that are getting in the way, especially those vibrations of fear that keep you stuck in a story or stuck in a vibration because they're afraid that if you change, then all those things have to go. So we just clear them out. We lovingly escort them out of your body, call back what is your power from this life, previous lifetimes, your ancestors' traumas. We clear those to really pull back your energy so that you can step into your power. And it's all about becoming the guru, right? It's all about being that powerful being that you already are and just activating it.
I love that. I really love that. Being your own guru. I really like that. And also, I just happen to know, this is probably coming close to the end of my questions, but the other thing is I also happen to know that you, not only have you expanded in your practice, but you've also expanded in love.
Yes.
And are welcoming a very significant partnership into your life, and have welcomed in a significant partnership into your life.
Yeah, and I'll answer that I was having a moment a couple months ago, and I was just feeling like, oh, I should be further along in my business. I have all these tools, and what have I really done for myself in the last year? And my guides are like, shut up. Do you see what you've brought into your life? And they reminded me of what my focus has been this last year is meeting an amazing partner, someone I had been praying for years, someone that I got messages he was coming. I actually developed an entire curriculum around how to manifest your partner because my guides downloaded all these steps and said, you're going to teach this, but you have to do it. And you have to see if it works. And it worked. It worked. I haven't pitched that course yet because that's not the main thing on my agenda, but I'm pretty sure that it's going to be somehow tied into like right when we get married, because that's really the completion, right? So we are engaged now. I'm right here. We're super excited about it. We just launched our like wedding video, like that we're going to get married at Burning Man. So part of the adventure was not wasted on not coming up with my next business strategy. It was paving the way so that I could find love, because I've had visions for many, many years that before I was successful in my business, that my love would come and then everything would gel. And so far, it's like he just keeps attracting luck and magic to me. And I just feel even more confident. It feels like it's that love has, sorry, my cat's trying to eat food on the table. I'm gonna get her to go away. That's what's happening over here. And so, I just really knew in my heart that my partner was going to come first and that everything was going to fall into place. And it's been really healing my root chakra, healing places where I've healed a lot of trauma. I've released a lot of things, but I still never had that sense of family and security that my partner just emits from himself. He's very grounded. He is that vibration that I have never had in my life. And so I find that with every step we take in honoring our relationship, honoring the phases it's going through, honoring, the process of getting married. We're changing our names legally to a new last name, which is Fox. It's not legal on my end yet, but it will be soon. Everything is just coming together. So it feels like this beautiful union of my purpose and love. So I've been really happy to honor that that's part of my path, and not to beat myself up for not being further along or sharing my book with the world sooner. It was really about creating that space for life to happen so that I could honor all of the pieces, because I know the days when I was just working on projects and I was getting a lot done, but there was never that end game. Like the end game is sometimes really important. Like, why do you want to make money? What is it going to be for? because if we don't have a real reason or a real place for it to go, then we don't really manifest it. Mm-hmm. So I was like alone being like, I guess I'll manifest it so I can live and have money and like be by myself with my cat. Like that sounds terrible. I love my cat, but like I don't want to be a cat lady for the rest of my life. And then coming to this place of now I'm really calling in money so that we can have this amazing honeymoon trip. You know, we can drive across the country and get married at Burning Man so that we can travel and so that we can have XYZ things, or we can have gatherings and celebrations, and everything is now coming together, and the money is coming so much more quickly because I know that there's a reason for it to come, and it's given us this new purpose in life that we are now seeing together. That's just like a magnet attracting the other pieces for my business. And I feel so supported to be in my business that now I'm not doing it just to work all the hours of the day, but to really have someone to enjoy my time when I'm not working with. And that's where I was losing sight. And so I think it's important to find balance in your life. And Brianna, I can't wait for you to find that too.
Well, I the reason I ask is because I think so the Abundant Healer is aimed towards scaling online, but the reason I ask that question is because a lot of the principles of it are a crossover to other facets of life, and being open to being in residence with yourself. And that when you find that place, the business, which is the aspect that this program pays the most attention to, but that sort of the underlying principles of it, the why of it, is going to impact these other facets of life as well. And because I really believe that it's all in the same bucket, you know, and I found myself to this by working with love and attachment issues and scaling my practice online, working with individuals that were struggling in relationships, and found a place, and the way you said, like, you were living it as you were doing it. And I think that's very much what also brought me to this, was that I was finding a place of my own self-sovereignty after having like a major heartbreak, and found that place of self-sovereignty, and my business became kind of like this offshoot of that. And that allowed me to create these structures that are what you find in the Abundant Healer. But part of why I asked the question is maybe just to illustrate, because I know that your story illustrates it so well, is that it does impact other facets of life. And it's about working to live, not living to work. Right. Exactly. And once you find that alignment, and once whatever it is that you are doing in the world, whatever you are efforting in the world is an extension of who you are, and the openness and the expansion of your spirit, because it's something that you feel on fire about, then those things will inevitably, it will open you up to these other things too that you are desiring. You know, the whys, like money likes to have a place to go. Money likes to have meaning. And I think of money as being an energetic expression. And if you can tap into your whys, then it does come in more easily through the concrete real world structures that we also build in the program. So thank you, Kristen. I have just one more question for you, and then we can end it. Sure. The question would be, if there were someone out there that was considering taking this program, and they're kind of sitting on the fence about it and they're not quite sure, is there any bit of advice that you might offer that person?
Yeah, the advice I'd say is, like, let's talk about it. It's important to have human contact and to have those conversations. I don't believe that anyone should be making huge investments until they're really sure. And I think sometimes what that means is really connecting with the person that's creating it, making sure that you're in alignment. And so I invite people who are interested, they feel like maybe there's something that they're stuck in their life, maybe an old relationship, a heartbreak they haven't been able to get away from. That's exactly what I help with, because teaching these tools on how to reclaim your power. It's an indigenous strategy that has been around for hundreds of thousands of years that we haven't really talked about in modern day techniques. If you feel like you've been stuck in therapy for years and you're still not making the shifts that you want to, then this work is perfect for you, because it helps you to actually find where you've lost your power, giving it away, and actually, like, this is a technique to get your soul back into your body from those places where it's associated to. So if you're interested, I'd invite you warmly to get on a call with me, and let's talk about where you're at and what you've been through and what things that I have that might be in alignment for where you're going. And if it's not Truly Transformation, then it might be some of the other tools I have up my sleeve, because I do some live workshops that are really around clearing negative energies out. I have lots of tools up my sleeve, but I think Truly Transformation, in a way, really encompasses all of those things. and is a great container for people to really step into their soul success with soul retrieval.
Excellent. So I'm going to put a link if you are interested in speaking with Kristen directly and exploring more her program for Truly Transformational. And I lied, I have one more question. If someone is on the fence about joining the Abundant Healer, what advice would you give them now that you've been in the program and a year out and you're still marching along on your journey?
I'd say that the first thing that comes to my mind just intuitively is like to have a conversation with your spirit. Like, I think it's important to get on the call with Brianna and talk to her too. But I think you have to really ask yourself. I think that we can have like two voices in our head. Sometimes it's the voice of like who we truly are and what we're truly meaning to bring here. And then sometimes we have that voice of fear, like I can't do it, or that we're already like making excuses or finding some kind of resistance. And to really look at to see which one is your truth. And see which one you really want to give your power away to, because I feel like there's so many people who have amazing things to bring to the world and they get stuck because they're afraid that they can't, or they're afraid that they're going to fail. And it's all like a transformation, a trial and error. And if you only use one or two of the techniques, I've done it. Without this training that I did with Brianna, I've used one or two things that I knew. I followed other people, saw what they did, and I didn't have all the tools, and I felt flat on my face, and it felt terrible. Although I've learned a lot from that, I've learned a lot about how to do it in the future. It's really important that you follow your own internal guidance and see what your soul wants and what your soul wants to birth into the world, and really honor that process and really become clear about, what is your truth? What do you want to offer to the world? And get clear about, like, is that voice of fear really serving you? And what are you going to get out of it if you follow that same way, the same techniques of having little bits and pieces, investing so much more money in the long run, and then feeling like you're lost and you don't know what you're doing, and then you don't have the support. So I'd say, like, really talk to your soul and see, like, what do you really want to do with your life? And how do you want to get your purpose and your voice out into the world? Brown is amazing. And like I said, I invested in another coach who's really great too. Didn't give me the steps. She just was like, I go to her for motivational speaking because she's just, she like talks it all up. But then when it comes down to like, well, how do I do that? There's a few little examples, but she doesn't actually talk about any of the Facebook ads pieces, the webinars. She leaves you on your own. And those to me are the biggest pieces because that's what really brings people in. And of course you can get on Facebook and do Facebook Live all the time. And, that can attract some attention, but unless you have a strategy behind it and the strategy feeds into some way that you're going to be supported financially to really honor the world with your gifts, then you might be wasting your time. And I'd say, why waste your time when your soul's on fire to share something?
Yeah.
So
that's wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing your experiences, Kristen. I really appreciate
thanks for
it.
having me.
And again, if you are interested in Truly Transformational or just speaking with Kristen and finding out what more you can learn, I'm going to put a link in the caption of this video here. So definitely make sure to check it out. Thank you so much.
Thank you.